Hey guys, I just wanted to create a quick video showing off what the tutorial mode looks like in Skullgirls. You know, one of the big criticisms fighting games get from the more casual player is that they don't really give you any tips on how to play. You know, there was actually a recent article on Gamespot that put fighting games on blast for this very reason. So if you're new to the genre, you're kind of just thrown into this little sandbox, and you're only limited by your own imagination, basically, and your own execution. And most players don't realize this, and they kind of just give up. You know, they don't have anybody to hold their hand. They don't know the lingo. They don't know how to do the moves, even. You know, for these types of games, you're pretty much on your own. Now, there are exceptions to this. You have Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, which still by far has the most comprehensive tutorial mode in a fighting game to date. BlazBlue has a really good one as well, since it goes through all sorts of basic and advanced techniques and tactics. And even to a lesser extent, Street Fighter Cross Tekken has a somewhat decent tutorial mode. You know, Capcom actually attempted to tell players, hey, these are the mechanics of the game and this is how to use them. And it's not much, but it's better than nothing. So when I heard that Skullgirls is going to have this great tutorial mode, I really wanted to check it out, because I'm very interested in having the fighting game genre explode with more players playing it than not. You know, what's the point of having fighting games if there's nobody to play against? And introducing new players to the genre is great. There's no denying that. Just look at how many players were introduced to the fighting game genre from Street Fighter 4 alone. You know, if Skullgirls can do that, that's awesome. And there's no reason to hate on that. Alright, so let's get to it. In Skullgirls, the tutorials are separated into 4 chapters with various lesson plans in each one. So you have Chapter 1, and it's incredibly basic, and it goes through all the system mechanics that you need to know. And then you have Chapter 2, which is more advanced and deals with concepts such as defending and punishing and dealing with mix-ups. And then Chapter 3 and 4 explain just how the combo system works, how to do cancels, how to do air dashes, how to do chains and things of that nature. Alright, so the first tutorial we're going to talk about is Lesson 2, Introduction to Defense. Obviously, blocking is extremely important in fighting games, so this lesson in particular is extremely vital for newcomers, and I like the way the developers handled it. They don't just explain that you have to hold back to block. They explain that there are different ways to block. You have to block low, you have to block high, and they explain the different situations where you need to block high, such as a jumping attack or an overhead. I think it's pretty cool that they also give tips to players, saying, hey, an overhead is pretty slow, so you should just block low until you can see an overhead coming, and then you can just react to it. The next lesson I want to talk about is the Introduction to Basic Attacks. Now, what I like about this lesson is that they show the abbreviations or the annotations for light, medium, and hard attacks. Not only that, they also show the situational differences. So if there's a crouching attack, you would see a C right before the annotation. If it's a jumping attack, you would see a J. As simple as it may seem, this is actually extremely important, because when you look at forums or anything like that, you're always going to see these annotations being used. So it's great that it's keeping all players up to speed with the same lingo. Nobody's going to be confused. Alright, so we're going to move on to Chapter 2 now, because I feel like this is the most important chapter in the entire tutorial. In Lesson 1, we're introduced to the idea of mix-ups. Now, what I like that this game does is that it defines what a mix-up is, and then it explains why it's significant, and it explains how to defend against it. What's even better is that the later lessons, they actually encourage you to do the mix-ups yourself. You know, despite this being a pretty good tutorial for newcomers, there are some very obvious oversights that don't really make any sense to me. First, the way directional inputs are displayed is completely counterintuitive. Why would you have the words down, down back, back symbolize quarter circle backwards when you could actually show the motion on screen like you do in games like Street Fighter, for example? Here's another example. In this lesson, you're supposed to cancel Philia's hard kick into her Blockbuster Attack. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because her Blockbuster Attack is just referred to by name. They don't show the inputs at all. There is no move list in game either, so it amazes me how they could omit something that simple. And considering how this mode is intended for newcomers, how could they leave out something as vital as that? The last time we ever see the name Gregor Samson in relation to an actual input is in Chapter 1, Lesson 4. That's quite a while ago. I mean, maybe 10-15 minutes, and if you're new, you probably don't remember it.
Incredible!
Another gripe I have with this game is the training mode. Now, I think it's really cool that you can see the hitboxes. There are two forms, there's simple and advanced. And then you can also look at the hit stun bar as well. And every time you attack an enemy, you'll see how fast they recover from hit stun. And I think that's really cool. And it will really help people level up their game. However, the options outside of that are extremely limited. For example, there's no playback and record function, and there's no way to fight an AI. It's a shame because this really limits what players can do in training mode, and considering it has options that other fighting games don't have, why is it missing such basic features? I mean, you can't even see your inputs. That makes no sense. If anything, this is probably the biggest disappointment I have with the game. It has all these cool features, but then it's missing certain key features that are available in other fighting games. I just wish it kind of had everything. But you never know, maybe these are options that will be patched sometime in the future. Anyway, that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this brief walkthrough of the Skullgirls tutorial mode. It's really a mode that should be standard in the genre, but isn't. I'm actually kind of surprised that some reviewers completely neglected to mention it at all. So yeah, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you guys think about the game.